Hey guys, I have the finished bracelet to show you. So y'all voted in my YouTube post to decide which button I should use. So we were just trying to decide between the green one, and let me bring the green one over and show you. Sorry about that, I should have had that ready. We were gonna do either the green on antique brass, and I'll show you this all on the mat, but we voted on the turquoise in this case to go on my latest cactus band. So in this video, I'm going to show you how I finished it. I'll also start with just a very brief recap of starting the design, but it's even count peyote, and I have a couple tutorials on that now, so I'll just very briefly kind of gloss over that part. But what I focus on in this video is creating the button attachment and the leather attachment. And then we do a little session on barrel knots at the end. I know that that is something you guys have seen me do before, but this one is, just tailored expressly to this design. So I thought, in case that's helpful to anybody to have that. And of course, beads I'm using are available from Adornable Elements. This is the Bead of the Month Club Cactus Blossom. And I've just been doing a pattern a month with those for fun. And I have the pattern available on my website. So you can go to daniellewickesjewelry.com. And I think I'm going to probably put it under I have an entire library of peyote patterns on my website. So I'm going to try to make that findable somehow. It'll be linked in the description, but probably on that main page. And while you're there, you can browse and find some others too. So let's dive into creating this bracelet. All right, so in the pattern, the first block of cactuses are made with these two colors. It starts with the base of 1704. And then I made that first cactus with the 264, 11 Adelica. I am using an orange 1G thread. You can use really any, even like a turquoise color would be great. I have a color of mint in my shop. So if you wanted to snag one of these buttons, you can grab my mint thread. And let me show you really quick on the design. I did use mint. When I ran out of thread, I switched to mint here. So even though I don't currently have orange in my shop, I do have the mint color. And that looks glorious next to all of the turquoises in this palette. And so I have some thread here, and I have the base color. Really quickly, I'm just going to show you starting peyote. The pattern that I'm going to give you is a Loomerly pattern. So if you would like the electronic Loomerly file for it, you can follow along electronically. I'll put that in the same spot where you find the downloadable PDF for this. If you're following along with the word chart, or you're following along with just the graphic, that works too. But basically, the design is worked with 4 beads per row. So we're just going to start by stringing rows 1 and 2. So you're basically just going to string 8 of the seed beads in your main color. And then you'll pick up a bead, skip a bead, go through the next bead. So here's our 8. And again, on your pattern, you'll see that labeled as rows 1 and 2 on the word chart. So there's our 8 beads to start. Leave a long tail. That tail is going to be used to create this fold over section. So leave yourself about 15, 20 inches or so, because we're going to create this little section with that. And so what I usually do, just to give you a heads up for like how much to count, I go with a wingspan, 65 inches, plus whatever length of tail I'm leaving. So I'll just hold the thread spool and hold the end of the thread, spread my wings, and that's my length for working. Then I'll add to that any length that I want to be a tail. So that can maximize the amount of time you have to add thread, or ideally minimize the amount of time adding thread. I'm recording this late in the day, so I'm a little tireder than usual. It's been a busy summer. Oh my goodness, I'm telling you. So let's start row 3. And it's all just color A for now. I'm going to pick up 1 bead and skip a bead and go through the next bead. Oh, and I should mention that the pattern is actually starting at the bottom. So it's working up this way. You can actually change that though in the Loomerly file if you want to be the top starting. And if you do that, you won't need as long a tail, because attaching this doesn't need as much. So just, heads up on that. You can always add thread, so it's not the end of the world. I'm going to pick up my next bead, skip a bead, go through the next bead, and pull that as tightly as I can. Pick up a bead, skip a bead, go through the next bead, and then pick a bead, go through the next bead, and pull tight. And so if you've done that and tightened it correctly, you'll get this little peyote pop. And you can go ahead and start row 4, which for us is going to be, again, all the same color. So there's 1, and here's number 2. Actually, that got a little loose. Hang on. So just use your tail to tighten. There we go, number 2. And here's number 3. And last but not least, we've got number 4. All right, so that in a nutshell is peyote stitch with even count. That's how to start it. Just follow that pattern, just keep working. And the general convention is that I give it 3 rows of color, and then I start the cactus pattern. And the cactus is worked with a contrasting color. And then in between each cactus, you'll complete a series of rows, 3 in the color you're leaving and an additional 2 rows in the color you're starting. So that's what's different from my original dancing cactus pattern, is that it's got a few extra rows between the cactus. That is serving the purpose of making those color transitions really smooth looking. But yeah, so there you go. Let's dive into putting on. So the next thing I'm going to show you is putting on the button, and then we're going to put on the little fold over, and we'll put the leather on, and that will finish our beautiful design. All right, so let's start by putting the button on. You can put the button on either side that you like, but I actually think it would look really cute here at the top. And so that's where I'm going to be placing my button. I used this color in the last block when I was creating these cute cactus. So here is the color I used there. It's the 0054. I'm just going to bring out some of those. I don't need that many, but so here at the edge, I'm just going to pick up a bead, go through the next bead, which kind of is just like starting a new row. And then from here, I'm going to actually go through the next down bead. So this is just the next one in, like right there. And I'm going to string 3 beads, string on my button, 3 more beads, and then I'm going to go through the next down bead. So skip over that next up bead and go through the next down bead. And this works with either 4 or 6. I did 6, but 4 beads will also work here. And sorry, I just got a little bit of a twist. Other way. There we go. So that's what I'm going for. I need to reinforce that, but essentially that's how my button will secure on there. So to reinforce it, from here, just go ahead and go back through those beads, and that will complete the journey through that down bead. And let me just go through a few and show you what I mean. So you see how that's starting to make a little loop like that? It's going to tighten it down. And so it's just going to look like the loop is coming out from between those 2 beads. Carry on through these. And the next set. And when you find yourself back at the other side, I'm sorry, my thread is catching. There we go. Back at this side, take note of the side you were exiting from, and just head back through that bead from the opposite side. So we were exiting from this side of the bead, so we want to go through it from that side. And when you do that, you'll get this nice tight connection right here. Let me flatten it so it's really easy to see it. And so no matter how your button wobbles, it's going to look like that. So I'm going to reinforce that a few times and then weave in and trim my thread. All right, so button is attached and there's how it looks all reinforced and everything. I went through it I think I went through it a total of 4 times, maybe 5. I was kind of not paying attention and just sewing, but definitely I think at least 4. And it looks really pretty from the front. You can flip it front to back. So there's really no front or back yet. But after this step, there will be. So if you have a side that you think you like more, it's pretty much the same. But if you'd like to pick one, we're going to just create a little fold over tab that we can put our leather under. All right. So I grabbed the color that I used in the starting square, which let me just double check which one this was. Yeah, it was this one. So it was the 1704. And I've already dumped some of that out, actually, come to think of it. Yeah, that looks right. Okay, so what I'm going to do here is I'm going to actually weave back. So back through the last bead here. And then I'm going to travel till I reach this next one, which is actually 1, 2, 3 beads in from the edge there. Make a turn and head up through just that adjacent bead. And then make another turn to head through the up bead. So that was a decrease. So now we're heading out of the first up bead here. Pick up 1, go through the next, pick up another one, go through the next bead. And then here, if you want, what you can do is you can go ahead and complete this row just so you don't have a little lonely bead hanging out there, a lonely up bead. So you can complete that by picking up a bead, going through that one. And then let's perform another decrease on this side. So we'll head down through the adjacent bead, then head in through the third bead from the edge in that next column. So just like that, make a turn to head through this one, and make a turn to head through this one. And now let's go ahead and complete a new row. There's 1 and 2. So from here on, we're going to work 2 beads per row until we have a little segment that we can fold over, zipper stitch down, and we can get our leather under there. So here's the next row. And here's the next one. So just like this. So far I have, if I just count my edges, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I'm going to carry that out for 6 positions. So there you go. That's carried out for 6 positions. And what I mean by that is if you just count the edges. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and the same here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And it doesn't have to be perfect. Just, something that kind of looks like that. And now go ahead and press that toward one side of the piece. And just take a look from the side, like wherever you think it looks flat. So like that. And in that spot, and again, it doesn't have to be exact or perfect wherever you want it to go. Just start picking up the third column in. So take a quick look here. Our first 2, 1 and 2 on each side, those are not going to have anything covering them, but the ones in the middle do. So starting with the third column, that's where you want to bring your bead. And so you see here we're exiting from this down bead. Let's choose an up bead. That's part of the work. right here. So the one that I chose is the bead that is one bead up from where like the first cactus, bottom of the cactus starts. So like right there. Again, it doesn't have to be exact, just like wherever you think looks good. You know, take a look and see from the side if you like that. If you're happy with it, keep going by going through the next up bead, which is on the little fold over tab we created. So that's your next up bead. Then you're going to want to go through the corresponding bead that's next from this one. So you see we exited here, went through here. Now we want to go through this one. So we're just doing a straight line across the row there. And then carry on through the up bead on the little tab, which is that one there. And then from here, go ahead and make a turn down through a corresponding bead in the mat, or sorry, in the base. So it'll look like that. And that is just a zipper stitch. So to complete a zipper stitch back, there's a couple of things you can do. Often what I like to do is from this bead I'm exiting here in the base, I'll turn and almost like a ladder stitch, go right back up through the one that it's above. That's completing the circle here between these two beads. And then I'll travel through these three like that. It'll get me kind of back to where I can go through the base again. And when I say the base, I'm referring to just the actual cactus band that I am attaching this little thing to. So there's that. From here, I'll make a turn, head back up into here, and I'm going to reinforce the entire little tab section I made. You see how you can get through like all 4 beads just in one swoop like that? Feel free to do that. It's nice and quick. It gets you where you're headed. And when you start to get to the spot where it's curving, you may have to just kind of switch to going through 1 or 2 at a time, which is what I've done now. And this next little trip will take me to the front side of the work. And there we are. So from here, go ahead and just weave in and trim your remaining thread. All right, let's create a leather barrel knot. Working for so depending on if you want to make it adjustable. For mine, I think I'm going to just go ahead and have just one loop. You're going to need enough leather to create 2 barrel knots, one right here and one down here. So you actually need quite a lot. I often go with, let me get you a measurement really quick because I do tend to eyeball it. So let's see what I'm looking at here. Anywhere from 10 to 11 inches or so. Err on the side of too much if you're not sure. But I cut about somewhere between 10 and 11 inches. I also have a little cocktail straw here. We're going to need that in just a second. So fold over your leather to be about the size of the button loop you want, plus some room. And we're going to start our first barrel knot right up here. So lay your straw over your folded pieces. Take the longer end of the 2 and go around both the cord and the straw. And sorry, I'm going to just start that over again because I think I was making that a little bit twisted. So we'll go like that. There we go. And using the long end, I want to go around both the straw and the cord. So just like that. And now I'm going to pass that second part of the coil above the first one. So you want to get each new coil above the one before it. So it should look a little bit like that for you. And this is the short end, and this was the long end we were coiling with. And we coiled over both. And you got the straw here. So bring the long end through the straw. And then you can pull that free. And go ahead and tighten everything up. And don't worry if your barrel knot moves down the loop like this. That can be shortened by pulling on the short side and tightening that knot right where you'd like it. So in a way, it's even a little bit more forgiving than an overhand knot because you can reposition it after you've created it, which is kind of cool. I'm going to repeat that same process down here toward the bottom. I'm going to maybe use my straw as a way to guide me. If I hold it up this high for the moment, there's no way I'll make the button loop too big. So let's try that. So let's go around once, twice. There we go. And just take a look, make sure it's about, yeah, it's going to work. So slide that straw down now. I feel confident that's going to work. And we'll just get the end to feed through. It's a little shorter than it was. I'm glad I cut that extra length. This is going to be trickier to work with. There we go. Got it. There we go. And the front side is really pretty. So whatever side you're working toward might have the, the little crossing over. See that little thing there? If you work with it facing toward you when you've got you'll usually get the pretty side on your side that you intend to be the front of your design. And if you make a mistake like me, just try again. And so I'm going to try this on. Let's see. There we go. All right. So a lot of really organic looking bracelets today. Let me take this one off so you can get just a good view of that one. There it is. I really do love these kind of bracelets. I wear them the most all the time. I love the color blocking with the cactus. So again, if you're looking for this pattern, it's a respin of my dancing saguaro cactus, but I changed the layout to accommodate full color blocking so that I could show off all the colors in cactus blossom. And if you're looking for these beads, I'm a member of a club that sends out delicates once a month, and that's where I got this. This is from Adornable Elements, and I put the link in my description. And so, yeah, if you're looking for the pattern, again, it's in the description, and you can download that as well as my others. I have others like it. Oh, and if you want to trim these little ends, I forgot to do that, but that's no brainer. You just take and trim them to whatever length you like. If you're working with leather that you can fit a little bead on and you have extra length, sometimes that can be really fun to add a little cute dangle, but I don't have the length or the diameter of leather that really works with that. So I'm just going to go like that with mine. And here it is one more time. I'm going to just bring that on. And there you go. And here it is, all finished up. And it really came out really cute. Just wanted you to get to see it a little held up. So thanks so much for watching this tutorial. And please join me for future ones. I've got a bunch of stuff I'm working on that's coming up. And I don't have it all completely fleshed out yet, but box launch, that's going to be like my very first project box. It's definitely going to be like unique and different. So stay tuned for that. And I have a bunch of friend videos coming up. My friend Carol and I are going to jump on and do a mixed launch. And then I'm going to have on Leslie again to show me one of her new kits. Actually, I think we're going to work with our tier cast and do like more of a beading party format for that one. So that's on my calendar. You can check all of my next upcoming stuff on my calendar at daniellewickesjewelry.com. And then if you just on that homepage, you'll see tutorial, shop, and calendar. You just click calendar and it'll bring up all the details for that. So I'll see you for the next event, and thank you for watching this video.